The African National Congress Secretary General Fikile Mbalula, along with the ANC's national officials and National Working Committee, have descended upon KwaZulu-Natal for the ANC's National Working Committee visit across all 9 provinces of the party. Those visits started in Limpopo to assess the state of the organization as the governing party rears its internal machinery for the 2024 general election. They kicked off their engagements this morning with the Secretary General of the ANC, Fikile April Mbalula, engaging with King Misizulu KwaZulu-Natal ihlanga lomhlabathi isilo samabandla onke. Mr. Mbalula, your engagements with the Zulu King this morning, Misizulu KwaZulu-Natal, what was the thrust of that engagement with the King?
Thank you for having us. We engaged with the King by way of a courtesy visit because with our visit to KwaZulu-Natal, we start with engagement as well with chiefs and Nezinduna across the province. And it is only courteous that we pay visit to the King. And in Zulu, besizo water, isilo, samabandla. Ngesixhosa besizo khahlela ikumkani. That is why we met briefly with the King. There will be a pilgrimage of the ANC. Since we have been elected, we pay a visit to major churches and important leaders and traditional leaders in provinces. In KwaZulu-Natal, we don't have many kings. There's one king, Yamazulu. Umisizulu KwaZulu-Natal. So we will pay our pilgrimage to the King. Alondlela, we will go as Godwin. In coming here to meet with the King, as it is a culture, we have left Amaguga, which is cows, 10 cows, and then we will deliver them as Godwin at the right moment and time.
When you look at the King, there's a current impasse between the King and the Premier's office. Mainly, the main bone of contention is the issue of the security in Isigodlo zonke, the royal households, which the provincial government has scaled down significantly since Ukotama Gwengonyama, King Zwelithini, King Goodwill Zwelithini. What is the main thrust, and how are you going to resolve this particular impasse between the royal family, the King in particular, and the Premier's office, which he says accuses them of micromanaging the King's expenditure and the King's work?
Well, we think that the province must resolve those issues. We have impressed and we will impress going forward to the province to resolve those issues. Most of those issues are administrative, and some of them, indeed, they have to be done. The province must execute some of the things that the King is talking about. And the King was briefing Amakos, and then and he raised these issues and they leaked to the media. And which then give an impression that the Royal House and the provincial government are at war with each other. We have come a long way with the Royal House as the ANC government to support the Royal House. The Royal House, which in the past was characterized by political, involvement, to the point where all people, all Zulu people across political divide respect the Royal House. It's not an ANC or IFP Royal House. The government of KwaZulu-Natal must do everything in its power, especially the ANC government at the present moment, to address the concerns that, not the concerns, the rumblings that are coming up from the side of the King, which some of them we think fair enough, they need to be attended to and resolved. They shouldn't be allowed to drag on.
On the main core business that you are here for this weekend, the assessments of all 11 regions of KwaZulu-Natal. This province has not done significantly well. We lost a number of municipalities in the 2021 local government elections. Subsequent to the provincial conference that took place, the by-elections that are taking place in this province, you've been receiving a drumming from the IFP. What is the main thrust of what you are here to do this weekend in KwaZulu-Natal?
We are here in KwaZulu-Natal and to understand the state of organization deeper. What is the state of ANC branches, the state of ANC membership in the province, and to look as well governance at local level. What is the state of governance, and what are the challenges and the obstacles that the province is facing? You are correct, we lost a significant number of municipalities in the province in the last election. We need to then go deeper in understanding why that happened and how do we work to reclaim the lost ground in KwaZulu-Natal. Is the leadership of the ANC in KwaZulu-Natal obsessed with reclaiming the lost ground, or is the ANC locked in internal dispute and wranglings? There was a conference here, it was contested, it's over. We need to focus our membership and leadership on the task at hand. Looking from far, you hear things. Membership is not happy about provincial leadership to the point where some are hard at work to campaign for the dissolution of this newly elected leadership. We need to come close to that. What's happening? The ANC must be more united and cohesive right now in terms of deepening service delivery and good governance in the province, especially after what we have seen in the last election. The work of the working committee here is to really do two things. Like I said, to sum it up, organizational intervention in terms of obstacle challenges, address them, governance issues. Why have we lost ground, and how are we working as an organization to reclaim the lost ground?
Who are those people working day and night for the dissolution of this provincial executive committee, Mr. Mbalula?
It seemed to be not along the lines of the differences of the past conference. I may be quick to say that and only to find that I'm wrong. The reason we are here as the working committee is to examine that point, but at the same time to satisfy ourselves that to satisfy ourselves about and enrich our understanding about what is happening in the province. Are people still locked in the past? And why will comrades be so disgruntled in the province about everything internally in the organization? So we are here to really assist them and to get an appreciation of how big is the challenge.
Mr. Mbalula, I put it to you that your leadership in the province, from Tumseni Ntuli, Sihle Zikalala, subsequent to Duma and Begum Dolo, they intervened and Moses Mapita removed Mr. Njilo as the mayor, Temba Njilo as the mayor of Umsunduzi local municipality. They also came to eThekwini, removed Zandile Kumete as the mayor. But still, service delivery in these two economic hubs of the province is deplorable. You are going to Moses Mapita in Umsunduzi, Pietermaritzburg tomorrow. There's potholes everywhere in Pietermaritzburg. You come to eThekwini. eThekwini is still filthy. eThekwini, you've just sent the former Director General in the Presidency, Cassius Lubisi, to come and try and fix the mess in this specific municipality. Is the ANC failing to govern in KwaZulu-Natal?
Our coming close to understanding the governance situation is to enable leadership to have a full appreciation of what is happening close, and then to be in a position to take hard decisions if the necessity arises. KwaZulu-Natal is a too big, important province to the ANC and the people of the Republic not to be serviced properly. It is important that our comrades and the ANC in the province need to understand that. It's not really centered around just removing and replacing people. It's about those who have sent, are they doing the right thing? And if they are not, what do we do about them? So there will be no holy cows, I can assure you, in terms of understanding the situation. And we are calling all our structures, we have written to them, we have communicated to them, come full on board. We will be able to diagnose even those who come with factional interest. We want people who come and say, comrades of the National Working Committee and national leadership, here is the problem in KwaZulu-Natal about ourselves. And once that problem has been clearly diagnosed and we come to a conclusion that indeed here is the problem A and B, the question before us on Monday will be, what do we do about these challenges? Are you
open to disbanding the province, knowing that you are supported by, in particular, the provincial secretary's core, Bheki Mtolo, to ascend to this position? Are you willing to disband the very same people who elected you as secretary?
The disbandment is not on our cards at the present moment. It can only arise if the NWC sees that indeed here in the province there is no leadership, or there are political and principal issues like the fall of the center that will lead us to the dissolution of the province. Our being here is to build. It doesn't matter who supported who at the national conference. We serve in the ANC now. Even our friends at conference, if they elected us and thinking that will serve factional interest, they need to disabuse themselves about that everywhere in the country. We are serving the ANC now. And if there's a decision taken by the collective, I'm the Secretary General, I am the security guard of Luthuli House. And if I have to communicate hard decisions, I will do so. But I will never, as part of the collective, allow the ANC go down the drain for my self-interest. Even when comrades who supported me are doing wrong, my task is to help them to get out of the wrongness. And we build the ANC strongly.
Are they not failing with the school nutrition scheme, with how they bumbled that particular project?
The schools arises in government everywhere. And it is unfortunate that there was a big crisis about school nutrition team. I called Mayor Angie. I expected the province to act swiftly and decisively. We'll still get the report about that. It was something that was very terrible that actually happened here in the province. It's a manifestation of signs of maladministration, if you listen to the stories of what happened there. And we do expect that a province like KZN, if there is leadership, there must be decisive action on such, including at the level of government. There can be no such mistakes that are tolerable at the present moment, even beyond an election. Because our people have suffered at the hands of rogueness and government personnel masquerading as officials hard at work, and yet they do the opposite. That problem is not the problem of the ANC, it's a problem of governance and a problem of maladministration in an administration led by the ANC. I expect, and we do expect, ANC political leaders to act decisively where such things do arise. Heads must roll, action must be seen to be done to reverse the perception that we are inept when it comes to incompetency.
But what report have you received of any action being done in the Department of Education by the MEC?
We will ask those hard questions. I will answer you on Monday. Those hard questions must be asked. Nobody must be, like I said, there will be no holy cows and nobody must be protected. Anything must never be sugar-coated. If I lead the department, I'm a minister of transport. Something happens in my department that I'm deployed by the ANC. The ANC expect me to lead in providing decisive action to address that crisis. That's what the people of South Africa want. That's what the ANC want from its public representatives. We will get that report, including what has the province done to address that. Like, for instance, what happened with Thabo Bester, the showman. Celebrities and everybody involved in that's not important. What is important is what do we do about that jail of evil. And I'm happy Lamola has taken decisions about that jail, because I was watching him, because that jail is a jail of evil. Many wrong things have actually happened there through Thabo Bester. I'm happy that Lamola is acting, because that's what is expected of us in the position of authority in the departments we lead in government.
But Mr. Mbalula, when you look at the battles in the province between the provincial treasurer and the provincial secretary, and the split that is supposedly there between Dr. Ntutuko Mahlaba and Bheki Mtolo and the rest of the officials, it is centered around personalities. You look at the firings that are taking place in the executive, the firing of Amanda Bani, the non-action against Mbali Fraser. Does it not speak to whoever is close to who in the PEC, which ultimately affects service delivery in the province?
That there is a leadership paralysis in the province. I can't come to that conclusion now. I'll tell you on Monday. It might be there is leadership paralysis in how we act, and I don't want to judge comrades. But there are signs of differences. And I know if leadership doesn't speak, membership will speak. And they will tell us what is the problem, how they understand it. We've got the whole day on Sunday with this PC. And then to tell us exactly what is their understanding of what is obviously the PCs, most of the time, they move from a premise of defending themselves. But that's why we started the grassroots with the structures and so on. Where I'm seated, I've got reports, individuals telling me this and that. Where other members of the NWC and NEC are seated, including the president, they've got reports that are telling them this and that. Now, the organization has arrived. It is time to come close to understanding the problem, including those who speak in darkness. It is their time to speak now. And then allow the organization to take well-informed decisions in helping the province, if there is leadership paralysis, to help the province to get out of that.
Mr. Mbalula, I take it to you that after the 2009 election, you were in the National Executive Committee. There was a report that was tabled by your Internal Elections Committee, which dubbed it the Umfowethu syndrome, which likened it to people voting for former President Jacob Zuma on the virtue that he's Zulu, with the ANC getting about 700,000 votes more nationally, and those 700,000 votes not translating to the vote in the province. It then translated again in the 2014 general election. Subsequent to that, you go to the first election of Cyril Ramaphosa in 2019. That deficit, 600,000, 700,000 votes disappearing once again in the province. Does this not speak to that phenomenon that was dubbed by your own internal elections agency in the party of the Umfowethu syndrome that has now seemingly gone back to the Inkatha Freedom Party?
KwaZulu-Natal, in terms of the outcome of the elections, an account of it in terms of the performance of the ANC, is a variety and a number of factors, which is not about Umfowethu syndrome largely. Service delivery and the organization that have left its base and been concerned about one single issue, which does not benefit the people of this province at all, and then left the base just like that. And the election have just exposed the ANC that you leave your people, others will come and take them over. We had reduced the IFP in this province to nothing over time, but it has simply come back, which it's a It's a reflection of the fact that it's an organization that overjoyed its stay in power and forgot its base. And we are busy with Samkele's issue alone and forgot that we've got to service the people. So we need an organization that now change its way of doing things and begin to reclaim the lost ground. And lost ground means being in touch with the people and doing things for the people. The majority of people, if you look at the base of the ANC, which is at eThekwini, did not come out in numbers to vote, meaning the base was not enthused to come out to vote for the ANC. And we know that phenomenon cut across all over the country. But also, when we raise this point, it's like it's in self-defense. We know that that election had its own challenges, which worked to the advantage of us, others, but to the disadvantage to the ANC. If IEC on the day of the election is not up and ready, and people drop out of the queues because machines are not working, the ANC voter is going home. If ever the turnout is not good, it will disadvantage the ANC and benefit others. Even when we're faced with that situation, including our own internal bickering in terms of the selection of candidates on its own, which is subjective ANC problem, the opposition could not obliterate the ANC. We still could emerge with some numbers, albeit not outright majority. But what does that snap election tell us, which was a campaign within a month? It tells us that the majority of people are very much unhappy about our performance, and in particular in KwaZulu-Natal, and where we used to be dominant, we have lost support in terms of this election. And IFP has then come back in greater numbers. So the ANC must preoccupy itself about what we are going to do to reclaim the lost ground.
Will this rescue mission that you are launching here succeed?
This is not a rescue mission. It's consolidation. Rescue mission is when you have drowned and you are in danger. Here we are not in danger. We've got the numbers, we've got followers. We just need to consolidate and refurbish the strategy and our work to become a better organization.
So you're not going to lose this province?
Everywhere in the country, if we don't do the right thing, which is reaching out to the people, that we will win is not a given. We will work for outright majority, including in KwaZulu-Natal.
On international matters, Mr. Mbalula, the ambassador of the United States yesterday came out guns blazing and scathing against the ANC administration, saying that you are aiding and abetting Russia in the war between Russia and Ukraine, and that when a Russian Air Force ship docked in the Western Cape, you supplied Russia with arms. Is it true?
The Americans and the American government has been very concerned about the drills we have undertaken with Russia, and they've sent envoys to our government, and our government have been seized with that matter at the diplomatic level to address the issues. Some of the accusations have been around this non-partisan approach, that we are not non-partisan, we have taken sides with Russia. I can tell you, as a Minister of Transport, I had a whole aeroplane full of arms destined for Ukraine and out of South Africa, and they seek permission. I declined that. I doubt very much that our government will give arms to Russia to aid the war that is happening there, because we have taken a very clear stance, which we have been attacked about, but it is a stance which is informed by ANC approach, where there's been conflict and there is conflict. We believe in multilateralism, and that's what is important. The accusations that are made by the US ambassador are unfortunate. We will need to come close to him and understand, and make him also understand the ANC. We've got good friends as the ANC in the United States. Anti-apartheid movement, we have enjoyed large support in the US. We do come close to Democratic Party in the United States. We differ with them to a certain extent on some of the issues, but in terms of our way of thinking in this multipolar world we're in, we are close to that. That goes with also the Congress Party of India and so on. Now, the United States government need to appreciate the ANC as a party, and then the United States government need to appreciate South Africa as a state that is sovereign. Where they criticize and they allege, like they did, and it was a big fat lie about Iraq, that they are weapons of mass destruction, we must not allow them to escape with that lie. Hence, we support the approach of our government. I know President Ramaphosa, when he announced the judge retired to investigate that, people said Ramaphosa is a man of commissions in answering complicated and crisis issues. It is important to investigate that part for America, because America have gone to war over Iraq over nothing. Now, when the ambassador of a government like the US says boldly to the world and everyone to know that South Africa is in fact giving arms to Russia, we can't take that lightly. We need to combat that. But America must appreciate that South Africa is not a sub-state, it's a sovereign state. And it must respect South Africa. The same as we have enjoyed over the years good trade relations with the US government. The presidents of the US have been to our country. We have had good trade relations with them. We, however, differ with some political parties in the United States of America in how we see things in the world. We differ on issues of Cuba, we differ on issues of multilateralism versus unilateralism and all of that. We differ. But we enjoy warm relations, government to government. And in this particular instance, we have always respected the government of the United States in terms of the South African government. So that is a point that they need to understand. To this extent, the ANC will endeavor to engage with the ambassador on the comments that they have made, because we also need to make him understand ANC resolutions.
Did the South African government, the ANC-led government, supply weapons to Russia? Yes or no?
I can't answer that question with yes or no, because government have acted on that matter already by investigating if any of such a thing has actually happened. I wouldn't expect a South African government to supply weapons to Russia. That will be a complete disaster. And if that were to be the case, anyone who did that and under their supervision, action must be taken by our government, because that is anti-government policy in relation to what is happening now in Russia and Ukraine. It undermines South Africa's integrity, territorial integrity and integrity of South Africa as a government. The president must act on that, informed by empirical evidence.
Have you extended a call to Minister Thandi Modise, the Minister of Defense, asking her if indeed any weapons were supplied to Russia? Because if indeed weapons were supplied to Russia and you are saying you had no knowledge of it, it means someone is undermining the might of the state.
That the ambassador now says the issue has been a consent before about the drills. Let me tell you this, South African Army do drills with various countries. They do it with China, they do it with the United States of America itself. They do it with Russia. It's not something new. that matter had to be clarified to the Americans in the context of the war, that these things are normal and all of that. And for a ship that docked in Saltana, the Russian ship and all of that, they raised concern about that. We were briefed that government is attending to clear the air with regard to that. This accusation of yesterday is new. It's like when American prosecutor Lynch one day woke up and said that we bought the World Cup. Do you remember that? And it have not backed up that evidence. And with at length till today, America has not apologized to us, and Lynch was lynched in America, is out as a prosecutor. But they went to make a statement, and we worked very hard to clarify that we didn't buy that World Cup. And Americans could not back it up. It is because of some rogue element who was arrested, corrupt, and even died, who went trailblazer or blazer, went to make a claim that this and that had actually happened. But from an investigation side, there is no money that went to America to buy the World Cup or anything of that sort, or to any other country. We're able to clarify that. Now, they come yesterday, boldly so, that we have done this. Now, as a responsible government, you look into that, because we ourselves as the ANC were told not even arms, that there was nothing untoward in relation to what Russia was doing here and taking drills with the South African army, because that is normal. It happens. It should be South Africa that asks for arms from Russia, not the other way around, because big weapons of war are manufactured in Russia. So the opposite is what is now said by the American state, that we give Russia arms. I mean, we should be asking arms from Russia, not the other way around. But nonetheless, the claim has been made. It must be rebutted.
Are you being undermined by the Americans?
Has come across as a state that undermines sovereignty of other states at any given point in time. So, we have always been against that. And when it comes to ideological differences in terms of the party, we are anti-imperialist. We don't believe in cloning other states and impose ourselves on them. We believe and respect the sovereignty of other states. That's what the ANC have stood for over the years, and over 100 years of its existence. And that is what have defined friendship between us and other nations.
In short, Mr. Mbalula, out of time. Why is it so difficult for President Cyril Ramaphosa's administration to decide whether they are with the East or with the West?
We advocate for multipolarism. It's not about East and West.
Is Putin coming? Is Putin coming?
Government is dealing with that matter. Of course, we have explained that as the ANC would love him to come, but you know that ICC is a major obstacle for us, and now that they've issued a warrant of arrest, it imposes challenges for our government. You know, there is precedent. A head of government came here, and then a court judgment was issued against our government. So as much as our government will not hesitate to have him here, it must be guided by the law and not repeat one and the same mistake all the time. There are many avenues of getting President Vladimir Putin to South Africa and participate in BRICS.
So you're thinking of having him virtually?
Actually, it is the last resort, but nonetheless, South Africa must look at its interest, and at the same time must not do anything that will bring the country into disrepute.
And if President Putin says, if we are the host country of BRICS, you host everybody, and failing which, you are kicked out if you fail to host everybody.
It's governed by laws, and we are not a lawless country. If we become a lawless country and do anything that is unlawful to something that our country has bound ourselves to, in terms of the Roman statutes, we can't then act rogue. We will not be respected by the world. We will not be respected by our own citizens. Every revolution in terms of its success is defined by the rule of law. And in this particular instance, South Africa to that.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Mr. Fikile Mbalula. That is the Secretary General of the governing party speaking to the SABC on the issues pertaining to the rumblings between the royal family, King Misuzulu, KwaZulu-Natal, along with the Premier's office, and their work across all 11 regions of KwaZulu-Natal, which will be led by the National Working Committee of the African National Congress to assess the state of the organization, assess the state of service delivery. You go to a municipality like the capital city, Msunduzi, it's deplorable. Potholes everywhere, left, right, and center. You come to the economic hub of the province, eThekwini, the only metro in this province, service delivery down to the doldrums. In the 2021 local government elections and 2016 local government elections, one of those elections, voters in the biggest township in this municipality, in Umlazi, they had to jump over refuse to go and vote for the governing party. The ANC alone in this province has lost about 650,000 votes, which it got in the 2009 election, in the first election that elected former President Zuma, subsequent to the 2014 elections, which elected former President Zuma for a second term. Subsequent to that, the ANC lost those votes. One wonders where they went. To the economic freedom fighters, back to the IFP. Where did the NFP vote go? Fikile Mbalula says they are not on a rescue mission in KwaZulu-Natal, but they are strengthening and beefing up their machinery. But indeed, the ANC does seem as if it is on the back foot in KwaZulu-Natal.